And in everyone's life, yes, they do have this. Some crumble and some go past it. But the ones who pass are the ones who have virtues and powers, and their mind is full of them. So we'll discuss a bit, and we have a very special speaker who will explain how to make our mind powerful. And we have with us Rekha Ben, and we're welcoming her. And in essence, I'd like to give an introduction. I'm happy to introduce her. She's connected to the Brahma Kumaris for the past 30 years. You coordinate the service of the Tamil souls, and you represent the Tamil group, and it's a very big thing. You do workshops and talks. You've given a lot of service and travel a lot. Thank you, and Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. सबको good evening और नमस्ते.
Om Shanti and good evening to you all and namaste.
आज का विषय तो
today's topic
सबके लिए ज़रूरी है.
Is important to all, especially in today's time.
तो रोज़ की बात होती है.
And it's about daily.
कभी कुछ होता है,
Sometimes something happens and something
तो हम अपनी
happens.
स्थिति को कैसे बनाए रखें?
And how do
आप
we
सबके
maintain our
पास भी बहुत
state?
सारे experiences भी
You may
होंगे
also have a
और
lot of
युक्तियाँ भी
experiences,
होंगी, तो जो आप यूज़ करते होंगे.
and the many methods you may also be
आज
using.
हम अपना
but
अनुभव से
I'm going to
कुछ
share
बातें शेयर करेंगे.
some aspects from my own
जब भी
experience.
कोई ऐसी बात होती है,
When there is
तो
something that comes up that
एक विजुअलाइजेशन से भी अच्छा
through
रहता है.
visualization,
तो जब ये बात जीवन में उतार चढ़ाव और स्थित रहने की बात आती है,
an
तो
aspect
मेरे
of
मन
up
में
and down
एक
comes in
ये
life.
विजुअलाइज की
In
हम जैसे कि
my mind I
ऊपर
visualize
उड़ रहे हैं विमान में.
that we are going above
जब
like
विमान
an
में उड़ते
airplane.
होते हैं,
When we are flying up in
एकदम
an
ऊपर,
airplane,
सब
very
बादलों से,
high
सब
and
ऊपर.
beyond the clouds,
तो कभी नीचे है बादल,
and
तो
sometimes the
कभी
clouds are below,
बारिश होगी या कभी
sometimes it's raining,
सूरज की बातें कुछ भी है,
And
लेकिन वो नीचे है और हम
whatever it
ऊपर
is,
हैं.
it's the
तो
clouds,
ऐसे
the
जब
situation is
हम
below
अपने आप
and
को
one
भी
is above,
visualize करते
and
हैं
so
कि
one
हम
can visualize
सब चीज़ों
oneself
से ऊपर हैं,
and we're beyond
तो
everything,
हम उस रीति से
and in
पार
that way
चले जाते
we
हैं.
can go beyond
तो
that
हमेशा ये भी
situation.
अच्छा रहता है
And so it is
कि
very
हम
good
कोई भी बात हो उसको
that
visualize
whatever it
करें,
is,
तो उससे भी
the
बहुत
aspect
फायदा
or
होता है.
situation, let's
तो
visualize
आज
going
के विषय
beyond
में पहली
that.
बात तो ये ध्यान पर मुझे आ
First,
रहा था
But one
कि
thing that came in my attention was
उतार चढ़ाव ऐसे
that
जो
up
कहते
and
हैं,
down, we say that
तो इसमें स्थिति की बात आती है.
it's the aspect of
तो
one's
स्थिति
stage.
जब हम कहते हैं,
The stage
इसमें
is
एक बात बहुत जरूरी है समझने की.
something to be
पहली
understood.
बात तो ये
First
कहेंगे
thing,
कि ये पहली बात समझने की बहुत जरूरी है, और हम अपने मेडिटेशन वो सब में
And
सीखते हैं ये
we can
बात
learn
को.
this in our
कि
meditation.
एक होती है स्वस्थिति
First is the
और
stage of
दूसरा
the
है
self,
परिस्थिति.
and second is
और
the situation.
समटाइम्स हमको लगता है कि हमने तो ये बात अच्छी तरह से समझ ली,
Sometimes we think we've understood
लेकिन
this very
जब वो
well,
परिस्थिति आती है,
but when that
उस
situation
समय
comes,
हमको ये
and at that
याद
time,
आनी चाहिए
we need to
कि
remember
ये दो बातें,
that these two
स्वस्थिति और
aspects, the
परिस्थिति.
self, the stage
तो
of the
इसमें
self,
जब हम कहते
and
हैं
the
कि
situation.
स्वस्थिति,
And so
स्वस्थिति,
sthiti,
मतलब
the
अपनी
situation,
खुद की
the
stage,
stage of the
अपनी
self,
खुद की अंदर में क्या चल रहा है,
what's
कैसे है,
happening inside,
खुद की
what's
और जब हम परिस्थिति कहते हैं
and when we say the situation, paristhiti is the stage of the outside, the situation that's come from outside.
उसमें
And everything is connected in that. Relations come in that. Situations come into that.
है ना? तो
issues.
ये दो बातें हो गई ना.
So yes, there's two things here. First is the self, and the second is the situation that's outside.
अपनी स्वस्थिति
And through the situations, yes, your stage can go up and down.
समझते हैं
and we do think that yes, it does happen. But the situation of the self, the stage of the self is in our hands. But the situation of the outside is not in our hands. And this needs to be understood very well in the intellect, because we think that this situation came and that is why I became like that. We say that, don't we? That this one said something and this one, this happened, and that's why my mind became like that. But yes, the aspect is of the outside, but I can make my stage well. This is in my control, and so this needs to be understood, and when it's understood, and it will become a part of our transformation. Actually, the one who creates the stage is the self. This is something to be understood. When we bring the situation that is an outside issue inside, then yes, we spoil our stage inside. If we think that if this situation outside becomes okay, then I will become okay. But if that's the way, then 2-3 things come up and situations keep coming. But the self, the stage of the self is in your control. Now, in a situation, if there's 2 people, but both have a different response. One says it's okay, it's not a big deal. The second one will say, how can this one say like this? How can they say this? They keep thinking about it. The situation was one, but both responded differently. And so situation is one. But who makes the stage of the self? It's the self. So if we begin to understand this, and this is like our foundation. So let's create our stage no matter what happens. So let's think that yes, why is there an up and down? Yes, situations keep coming. It's about every day. Small things are like traffic, weather. Could be about you're late in a train, you went to sleep. Somebody said something. At work this happened. There was a redundancy. Many things could be there. And small things. And so yes, situations come. Then why do we get affected? Think about it. Through first is there is a lack of understanding. We haven't understood something. That situation, or could be about those involved in the situation, or it could be about the self. something we haven't understood about it.
बहुत सारी ऐसी stories आते हैं.
And there are many stories that come through the internet
बहुत सारी stories.
or WhatsApps.
जैसे कि कुछ हो रहा होता है.
Something has happened.
और कोई ऐसे respond किया.
And somebody responds like this.
कुछ बच्चे ने ऐसे किया.
One child did something.
ऐसे हम सोचने लगे कि वो
but we begin to think, how can they do that? How can they do that? And then we understand.
अपने माँ को खो दिया.
Then that person lost their mother. Something had happened. And that is why they're behaving like that.
से ही हमारा पूरा
and when we begin to listen and hear that, then our perspective changes. Then we understand something. Sometimes there has to be understanding.
ये पूछना ज़रूरी होता
so
है.
it is important to ask, what else do we have to remember?
तो समझ की कमी से भी हम कभी-कभी अफेक्ट हो जाते.
So we do get affected because of lack of understanding.
हमारे अंदर
and secondly,
most of the time शक्ति की कमी.
we have lack of power from within.
जैसे कहते हैं ना आजकल मोबाइल में
we do
जूस
say
नहीं है कहते हैं.
that sometimes in the mobile
ये ऐसी phrase यूज करते हैं कि जूस नहीं है मोबाइल में.
there isn't juice in
कम है.
means there isn't a battery. The battery level is less.
जैसे काम करना चाहिए
and so,
उतना नहीं होता है.
however much the work needs to be done, it's not getting done.
बिल्कुल ना के बराबर.
And then finally it's like no,
हमारे अंदर
it can't be done.
Spiritual power.
And in the same way within the self, when the spiritual power is very little, the battery power is low, we do get affected quickly. Just as physically we're tired. Example, you're tired, you come home and somebody said something and but you came happily with a lot of energy. You came home and yes, if you did, and people manage. But if you get tired and come, there's another thing that happens the same way. The mind too, emotionally, mentally, when the mind is stressed, and we get affected too. So first is understanding, second is power in the mind, and thirdly we can say, if we haven't filled the stock within the self of peace, of happiness, we've very little of it, then we can get affected. But if somebody gave something to us, but we don't have anything more to give, no we have peace, no we have happiness, then what happens? There's also affected. So, have we had enough stock of love, peace? We do get affected if we haven't filled the stock. And so yes. Then fourth aspect, expectations. When we expect things from others, then they have a hope that they should do this in this way. And what happens if it doesn't happen? We get affected. And so aspects and situations in everyone's life. Yes, we have a routine life. We go for a job. There's work at home. Even in the daily routine, in which aspect do you get up and down in? There could be big things, the big dynamics are different. We'll talk about it. But let's look at the daily. Now, in which aspect do I get affected? The small things. Maybe it's about this object in another place, and this object is not in the right place. We've said that this object should always be in this place. Maybe it's about just an object. We can get affected by that. It's a small thing. But why are we getting affected by that? What is there? What lack is there inside that one gets affected because of this?
हम प्यार से, शांति से, खुशी से वही बात डील कर सकते हैं.
We can deal with this aspect with love, with happiness, with patience.
वही बात है.
It is one that aspect. You can say it with anger and it's wrong. To say it with peace is another thing. You can actually say it in two ways. But say it by being affected, then yes, there's a big sound. And so, in your daily routine, check what is it that those small things that I get affected. Let me change that. Let's understand that, accept it, and with that I need to create the stage of the self with peace. Because we're not going to get anything through that. If you get more angry because of these small things, you'll get more upset. So first, if I need to stay peaceful, happy, then I need to remember that throughout the whole day, I need to stay in peace the whole day. And it has to be very firm in the mind. And then I check during the whole day that what situation comes that we take inside and we deal with it. So some aspects we can see how we can deal with it. First is that
हम समाधान स्वरूप बन करके उसको अप्रोच कर सकते हैं.
We can actually find solutions and approach a situation. So first is a problem.
तरीके से ये प्रॉब्लम कैसा है
we can deal with it as a problem.
दूसरा होता है solution.
And secondly, we can look at it as a solution for
कोई भी बात हो
that situation.
उसकी solution कैसे निकालें?
Now, anything. Let's think how to take out a solution.
तो ऐसे approach करेंगे.
So if you take that approach, then yes, a solution can emerge. You will get a method because we are thinking like that. If we think this isn't always a problem, it always is like that. If we think like that, then one gets affected. And so first aspect, whatever it is that comes in front of one, let's be solution orientated. And the first thought, let's find a way to get a solution out of this. And what's the method we can create?
कहते हैं कि अगर हमको हमेशा युवा रहना,
if we want to stay young, and there's a research done to stay young, then there needs to be a learning attitude. Whatever aspect it is, let's have the attitude of learning. Now, if you look at a tennis match, somebody had given a very good example, and I always keep this with me. Somebody is playing a tennis match, and one ball was missed. And the second ball, if you waste your thought on thinking I missed that ball, then you won't be able to hit the second ball.
मिस हो जाएगा तो ऐसे करें. तो attention रख के
so
और
if you keep attention, then keep playing. Pay attention on the second one. In the same way,
सीखने की
In every situation, let's have an attitude of learning.
बड़ों से है, बातों से है, खुद की बातों से,
whether it's from the elders, whether it's from the youngsters, whatever the aspect, let's have an attitude of learning. It's very
important. तो ये हमको हमेशा young रखेगा.
So that will make us stay young.
कहते हैं ना, student life is the best life.
We say, no, the student life is the best life.
हम देखते थे,
and we do see our elders that they learn in every aspect. They keep learning.
तो ये बहुत जरूरी.
Then this is important.
तो कोई भी बात आती है हमारे
so whatever aspects or situations come,
कि ये बात
ask,
मुझे क्या सिखाना है?
What has this situation come to teach me?
ये बात मुझे क्या सिखा रही?
What is this?
क्या सीखूंगी?
What is it that I'm going to learn?
मैंने देखा है जब हम कोई भी बात,
I see that whenever in any situation
से सीख लेते हैं,
you learn,
तो उसको छोड़ के आगे चलना
then to let go of it and move forward is easier.
नहीं तो उसी के बारे में
you keep thinking about it, thinking about it, keep thinking about it. What will happen? How will it happen? There are a lot of questions.
उसको let go करना भी मुश्किल हो जाता है.
And then it becomes very hard to let go
लेकिन
of
अगर
it.
हम ये
But
अंदर में पक्का करने की,
if we're firm inside,
सीख लिया,
I've learned it already about this.
सीख लेने से,
and through learning, you can let go of it very easily.
है ना?
Isn't
तो
it?
ऐसा.
So it is like that.
तो बातें सीखते
and so situation, keep learning about what comes to you.
और एक बात है,
another aspect is
अपने से रिश्ता अच्छा रखना बहुत जरूरी.
It's important to keep a good relationship with yourself, and that is why
बहुत जोर देते हैं.
we give importance to meditation.
Meditation में हम
because in meditation
अपने आप को जानने लगते हैं.
we begin
तो
to understand who we are.
बातों में, जीवन में.
So
तो अपने आप को जानना भी जरूरी है.
It is important to begin to learn the self, about the self, because if anything comes, we need to know how we're going to respond.
तो उसी से क्या होता है
and
कि
so what happens,
एक self-esteem, एक self-respect,
a self-esteem or a self-respect or self-love emerges,
ताकि हम kind रहें अपने साथ.
so that we can remain kind with ourselves.
क्योंकि ये दो बातें बहुत जरूरी हैं.
These two aspects is very important.
Forgiveness.
First is forgiveness,
क्षमा, रहम,
mercy, compassion.
कभी-कभी बातें
sometimes situations such they come
अपने अंदर
in a way,
जैसे कि एक घाव पर देते.
it's like a wound in your inside.
तो उस घाव में क्या हो जाता है?
And so what happens within in that wound?
जब भी ऐसी कोई बात आए,
that when a situation comes,
या फिर उसी person के साथ,
or maybe it's with that same person, and you have to deal with that person.
कुछ रख देते हैं
if we keep something about them in our
उनके
heart,
साथ डील करना मुश्किल हो जाता है.
then it's become very difficult to deal with that person.
रोज की बात है तो और
and if it's about every day, then really it'll become more difficult. And especially if it's about work, you have to see that person every day.
तो अंदर में क्या हुआ?
Then what happens?
उनकी बात रख ली.
We kept in our heart something about them, and we've kept.
कोई भी बात हो,
then whatever the situation, I will see that person that same way. And that's why to forgive is very important. And for that, self-respect is important.
self-love.
And self-love. Very important.
तो हम क्षमा भी कर सकते हैं.
So that we can have
और sometimes आप
mercy,
सोच
we
के
can
देखिए,
forgive.
अपने लिए आप
And
देखना
think about it for
कि
yourself.
दूसरों को क्षमा करना easy होता है.
Is it
या फिर
easy to
खुद
forgive
को क्षमा
others,
करना
or
easy
is it
होता है?
easy to forgive
आप
ourselves?
देखना, हम खुद भी
Check.
गलतियां तो करते रहते हैं.
We do
कई
make
बार
mistakes.
कुछ ना कुछ होता रहता है.
Something comes up time to time.
तो खुद को भी forgive कर सकते हैं हम
Are you
easily.
able to forgive yourself?
औरों को भी कर सकते हैं.
Are you able to forgive others? Think about
क्योंकि
it.
ये बातें बहुत जरूरी
Because
है.
this is very important.
रोज की बातों में ये बातें बहुत जरूरी है. क्योंकि क्या होता है,
Because what happens,
अगर ये बातें हम डील नहीं करते
if we don't deal with
तो
it,
फिर जैसे कि भारीपन आ जाता,
then there's a heaviness that sits.
और वो भारीपन भी
And that heaviness,
आत्मा को एक छोटी सी बात में गिरा देती है.
It makes the soul fold.
क्योंकि ऑलरेडी स्ट्रेस्ड है.
Why? Because it's already stressed.
डील नहीं किया,
You haven't dealt with the aspect.
तो और कोई छोटी सी बात आए तो भी,
and if there's something small,
affect,
then you get affected.
ना, तो ये बातें डील करना बहुत जरूरी है.
And it is important to deal with these
ये
things.
रोज की चेकिंग चाहिए.
So there's a checking of daily
किसी के लिए कुछ
needs to
बातें हैं
happen.
अंदर.
Is there something sitting in the heart?
कोई एक बहन ने
I
बहुत
remember
अच्छी
one
रीति
sister.
कहा, उन्होंने ये होमवर्क किया था, ये
They
वर्क
did a
किया.
homework. They worked on it.
ऐसे बैठ के सोचा उन्होंने
Just
कि
while sitting,
अपने
she was
जीवन
thinking that in one's
अपने
life,
जीवन में अभी तक मैंने किसी के बारे में कुछ अंदर रखा है.
have I kept anything about someone
पूरे
in my
जीवन में
heart
छोटे
in my
पन
whole
से
life
लेके अभी
from
तक उन्होंने
little age?
सबका सोचा. किसी के बारे में भी थोड़ा सा भी
If I have,
अंदर में
even for
मैंने
someone,
कुछ रखा है.
kept something in my heart.
क्यों? कुछ
Why?
भी अंदर हम नेगेटिव रखते हैं
If we keep
अपने
anything
लिए,
negative,
औरों के लिए, वो हमको वीक करता है.
that actually makes us weak.
और जो वीक होते हैं,
And those who are weak, they get affected.
तो इसलिए
And that is why
अपने अंदर अच्छी तरह से चेक करके
check yourself from
कोई भी
within,
बात.
whatever aspect it is.
इसके लिए मेडिटेशन में बहुत अच्छा. क्यों?
For that,
खुद की भी
meditation is
अच्छी
very good.
बातें
Why?
हम अनुभव करते
Because
हैं.
we can experience good
परमात्मा
things
से
about
भी
the self,
शक्ति लेकर
and
के
we can take power
वो
from the
भी
Supreme
अनुभव
Soul,
करते हैं अपने
and
अंदर.
we
इससे
do
हमको क्षमा
experience,
करना अपने आप
and
को
that is
भी
why to
औरों को
forgive
भी easy.
self and the others is
एक बात है,
important.
खुद को क्षमा करने के लिए समटाइम्स वो
To forgive the self
difficult लगता है.
may be difficult,
और हमारे अनुभव में ये बात
and
है, जब भी कोई
in my
ऐसी बात
experience,
होती है
if
तो मैं
something like that
सोचती हूँ,
comes up, then I think,
चलो उस समय
okay, at that
मेरे को
time
कुछ समझ नहीं थी.
I don't understand,
हाँ, ऐसी बात अपने आप से बातें कर.
and yes, I
उस
talk
समय
to the
मुझे
self in
ये
this way,
समझ नहीं थी, और
and I didn't
मेरा
understand
भाव
this,
तो अच्छा था.
and my intention
ऐसे
was
नहीं
good.
था कि मैं मुझे गलती
It's
करना
not that
है, ऐसे
I
भाव
want to
से
make
मैंने नहीं
anything
किया.
wrong, I want to do
भाव
anything
तो
wrong.
अच्छा था.
No,
तो
the
इस रीति
intention
से
was good.
अपने आप को भाव कैसा था
And
और
so
क्या
how
समझ
was
थी,
the
उस रीति से
intention, the
अपने
feeling
आप को
behind it.
और औरों को भी उसी रीति से. तो ये जब हम करते हैं
And when we do this,
तो स्वमान में और स्व पर वो जो सेल्फ लव,
then
ये
self-respect
खुद के
and
साथ
self-love,
रिश्ता अच्छा अच्छा. फिर क्या है,
this
अपने अंदर
relationship with the
शांति,
self
खुशी,
becomes good.
प्यार बढ़ाना
Then happiness,
easy हो
peace
जाता है. मेडिटेशन में
increases.
भी
Even in
ये वर्क,
meditation,
इनर वर्क करना
this inner
जरूरी
work
है.
is very important.
हमेशा अंदर
We
को
always must
साफ
keep our
रखना.
inner very clean.
और हमको कब कैसे पता चले कि
And
साफ
how
है
do we
कि नहीं?
know that it's clean
बातें
inside?
जब आती हैं
When
तभी पता
situations
चलता है.
come, then we know
ऐसे
if
तो हम
it's
समझ
clean
में
or
आता है,
not.
मेरे
Otherwise,
कुछ भी नहीं है,
we can't
सबके
think
लिए
that,
अच्छी
oh,
बात है, सबके लिए
I'm
ठीक है.
good, I'm fine, nothing's wrong
लेकिन
with me.
बातें जब
But
आती
when
हैं
situations come,
तब पता चलता है.
then we know
खुद
something.
के लिए भी औरों के लिए
That
भी
for the
अंदर
self or
अभी
for
तक
others,
रखा
is there
है.
still something kept?
तो कोई भी फीलिंग अंदर में आई, भय की
If
फीलिंग
there's
हो,
any feeling that I've kept
चिंता
inside,
की
feeling
feeling
of
हो,
fear, of anxiety,
या फिर दुख की फीलिंग,
or of pain or sorrow,
फिर कुछ न कुछ अंदर में है, इसीलिए ये सारी फीलिंग्स.
there's something inside there,
तो
and that
अपने
is
आप
why
को
feelings
रोज
come.
अपने आप को प्यार करना भी सीखना है.
And so it is important to learn
इसलिए
how to love the
मेडिटेशन में,
self,
ये राजयोगा में
and that is
हम
why
ये
in
अच्छी तरह
meditation,
से
in Raj Yoga,
अनुभव कर सकते हैं कि
you can
परमात्म
experience
प्यार,
that
परमात्मा का
supreme
प्यार
love
भी हमको खुद को प्यार करना सिखाता है.
teaches us how to love
ये
ourselves.
बहुत जरूरी है.
It's very important.
कोई इतना भी कहे हमको, इतना क्रिटिसाइज करे, कुछ
Some
भी
may
करे,
criticize and whatever they may do,
हम कैसे लेंगे उसको?
but
अभी
it's how
recently
we
हमारी
respond and
classes
take
में,
it up. Recently in our classes,
सुना होगा,
you
मुझे
may
बहुत
have
अच्छा
heard,
लगा,
I actually liked this aspect.
क्योंकि उसमें हमारी एक बड़ी दादी की बात एग्जाम्पल देके
Our
बता
senior
रहे थे
daddy's
कि
example was brought up
कुछ कहे उनको
that
कि
somebody
ठीक
may
नहीं
say
है, वो
something
ठीक
to
नहीं
them
है,
that this is not
तो आप
right,
कैसे
that is not
रिस्पॉन्ड
right.
करेंगे?
Then how
ऐसे
do you
पूछा।
respond? It was
तो
asked to
उन्होंने
the
यही
daddy,
कहा कि
and
चलो
they
मैं
said
कुछ ठीक नहीं है
that
तो
okay,
हम
something
सॉरी
not
कह
right,
के ठीक
then
कर
we say
देंगे,
sorry and move forward.
अगर ठीक है
And if
बस
it's
इग्नोर
okay,
कर
then
देंगे,
we
उन्होंने
just
जो
ignore
कहा
it. It's
बस
okay,
हो गई बात।
and that's it.
मतलब कुछ भी अंदर में
Meaning
ऐसे नहीं कि उन्होंने कैसे मुझे ऐसे कहा,
that they never felt that. Well, how dare that they say it in this way to me? They never felt it in that way.
इनफ स्वमान नहीं है, या
It's
फिर
because there's not enough
कुछ न कुछ
self-respect,
अंदर में नेगेटिव
and
है,
there's some negativity
इसीलिए
in
हमको
there, and that
लगता
is
है
why
कि वो
we feel
चुपता है चुपता है क्योंकि हम अपने
it
आप को ना
fights.
समझा है, खुद
And
से
so
प्यार नहीं
it's
है,
because you haven't understood
तो
the self,
इसीलिए
and that's why things
है ना?
bite. The conscience
तो
bites.
ये अंदर में एकदम अपने आप
And
को
so
साफ रखना,
keep the
ये
inner very
daily
clean.
work है,
It's a daily work.
daily करना। तो
And so
शुरू से
from the beginning,
सवेरे से
in the
उठते ही
morning, while we wake
अपने
up,
अंदर ये संकल्प लाते रहो,
keep the thought
और सारा दिन भी
that
हम
okay, the
कैसे
whole
अपने
day,
आप से बात करते हैं,
how do we talk to ourselves?
अपने आप से प्यार से बात करते
Do
हैं।
I talk to the self with love?
कुछ हो गया
Something happened,
तो अपने आप को ही ठोसते हैं या फिर अपने आप से अच्छे से बात करते हैं,
do we
कितना
blame
कैसे
ourselves,
बात
or do we
करते हैं
talk
अपने
with
आप
love
से?
to
अब
ourselves?
देखो
How do you talk to yourself?
ये भी बहुत जरूरी है,
And it's very important, this.
कुछ हो गया, हमने किया,
Something
किसी और ने
happened.
किया,
Did
अंदर
we
में
do
मैं
it? Somebody
अपने
else
आप
do
से
it?
क्या बोला,
What's the self-talk that's happening inside? What am I
क्योंकि
talking?
वही
How am I
मेरी
talking
स्थिति
to
को
myself in that way?
निर्णय का,
And that is important to make a decision
तो
at that time.
ये चेक करने की बात,
And so it's something to check here.
सिंपल बात है ना,
It's a
लेकिन
simple
अटेंशन
aspect.
देना होता है,
But we do need to give
क्योंकि मन
attention,
में ऐसे ऐसे क्विक
because in the mind,
संकल्प
yes,
एक के बाद एक के बाद एक
the
के बाद
thoughts
एक
that
के बाद आना
emerge,
शुरू हो
1, 2,
जाते
3, 4, and they
अफेक्ट हो
come.
जाते हैं, तो
And when one gets
उस समय
affected,
रोक के
and so
अरे,
that time to stop,
क्या हो रहा है, मैं क्या बोल
we have to
रही हूँ
check
अपने
what's
आप से,
happening here.
रोक के फिर अपने आप से वो बताना। तो पहले बोला ना कि स्वस्थिति मेरे
And
हाथ में है,
first,
अगर
the
ये
self,
पक्का है
the stage
तो
of the
अपने
self
आप
is
से
in my hand.
बातें भी
If
हम
this is firm,
ऐसे करें,
then we can learn how to
क्योंकि
talk to
जो
ourselves in
हम
this way.
सोचते हैं
So
वही
what we think,
reality में बदलता है ना। आपको तो पता है, जैसे संकल्प करते हैं
you
वैसे
know that
सृष्टि
when you create a
हम
thought,
रचते हैं।
so is the world that's
बहुत
created from
important
that
है कि
thought.
अपने
And so it's
आप को
important,
हम क्या बता रहे हैं।
what is it that I'm
तो
telling
एक और
myself?
बात इसमें, जब हम ऐसे इनर वर्क करते
And
जाते हैं
when we start doing that
तो
inner
अपने
work,
अंदर एक ऑटोमेटिकली एक नम्रता,
then automatically there's a
Humility.
humility that
वो
emerges.
सम्मान की उसकी ही रचना है ह्यूमिलिटी।
Humility
जब हम
is the
सम्मान
child
करते हैं
of
तो हम निर्माण
self-respect.
भी बन जाते हैं। तो वो निर्माणता, वो नम्रता बहुत जरूरी है।
And so that
आज
humility is
के
important.
ज़माने में
In
स्पेशली
today's
आप
world,
देखेंगे
you will see
तो जहाँ नाम, मान,
Where
शान,
there
या
is
फिर
name, fame,
कुछ और बाहर की बातों से
and
अपने
aspects of
आप
the
को
outside.
जैसे छड़ा के रखते हैं,
One
अपनी
has to keep
अस्तित्व
themselves free from that,
उसके ऊपर आधारित होता है,
not to be
तो उसमें
taking
जरूर
support.
कहाँ ना कहाँ अहंकार तो होता है।
And if one does, then
तो
yes, ego can come.
ऐसे जब हम फेस करते हैं
And when we face it,
तो हमको क्या करना है?
what do we do at that time?
मैं हमेशा सोचती हूँ
I always
कि
think
when I'm
that
faced with ego,
when I'm faced
अपनी
with
नहीं,
ego,
दूसरों की,
not
तो मुझे क्या करना है?
my ego, someone else's ego, what do I do at that time?
ईगो जब होता है,
When
खुद
ego
की भी
comes,
है, उसका तो डील
yes,
करना
there's
ही
ego
है
in the
अपने,
self, and one needs to deal with that too. But when there's ego of others in front of us, how do we face that?
ईगो को कैसे फेस कर? नम्रता.
With humility.
हमारी जितनी नम्रता है,
however much humility we
हम भी अफेक्ट नहीं होंगे,
we won't get affected,
और सिचुएशन भी हैंडल कर सकते हैं,
and one can handle the situation.
लेकिन अगर अहंकार के साथ हम भी अपना फिर
with ego,
कैसे मुझे
कैसे we tackle it with ego, then
कैसे
what would it be
हम
like?
भी ऐसे ही फील करेंगे.
If we become the same, then
दो हाथ से ताली तो बज जाती है.
With two hands,
so ये जब मेडिटेशन से ये सब बातें हम सीखते जाते हैं,
and so with meditation we begin to learn with God's power
अपने अंदर ये नम्रता
that humility within, yes, through self-respect there's humility.
बहुत ज़रूरी है.
It's very
दुनिया में
important.
आज
today in the world is very important.
क्योंकि तभी शांति बनी रहेगी. नहीं तो एक अहंकार दूसरे अहंकार से फिर लड़ते रहते.
Otherwise we keep fighting with ego.
तो नम्रता अंदर में ऐसे हमको करते रहे.
And we have to
फिर एक बात है
to do this.
उसमें अच्छे से ब्लॉग लिखा है इसमें कि बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं उसमें.
And so
हमको शांति कैसे मेंटेन करना है, फिर रोज कुछ होता है तो क्या करना है, दिन रॉन्ग जा रहा है तो उसको राइट कैसे करें. अच्छी क्वेश्चंस हैं उसमें. तो एक बात हम चलो रॉन्ग जा ही रहा है, हमने कुछ सोचा
okay, something is wrong and we miss a train, something happened in the meeting,
या फिर ये प्रोजेक्ट
and this project has gone away from their hand, something happened. During the day there are many aspects that emerge. Somebody told you off, something happened, and this one thing helped me a lot. In big situations, make them small. There's an art in this.
छोटी बात को बड़ी बनाना भी वो भी एक कला है.
It's an art to do this.
कौन सी कला सीखनी है?
But what do we have to learn?
बड़ी बातों को
how to make the big situation small.
तो चलो कोई भी बात.
Okay, whatever the situation, make it small. Just a situation as big as the Himalayas, I can make it small and we can solve it and we can fly and go beyond. We need to keep an aim. I always keep that aim, that whatever situation there is, I make it so small that I can blow it away in my hand and it finishes. So, to make a big situation small, what is it? Sometimes we laugh, okay, we've learned, we smile and finish it and say okay.
Again, solution.
And solution orientated. What is the solution? What is it that we have to do now? In our teachings, I like this very that when there's a fire, the fire engine people come and they try to put the fire out, but at that time, is there someone who says and asks, how did this happen? Do you ask at that time? Why it happened? Who did this? Where did it start? Nobody asks at that time. At that time, we have to put the fire out. Actually, afterwards, they think, why, how? But why they put the fire out? So that it shouldn't happen again. However, at that time, we have to put the fire away. That's it, so everyone's safe. And so, in the same way, when situations come, what is it that I need to do at this time? What, why, One should not go in that.
तो उसमें हमारा अगर फोकस है,
so if we focus in that way, we can make the aspects that are big small.
तो ऐसा ना हो,
and so it is not
एक
that
morning कुछ हो गया,
in the morning something happens. It's not that you decide that today whose face have I seen, that our day has started in this way, that we have decided that the whole day will be like this. No, no matter what happens, keep setting yourself. That's in our hand. It's not that whatever happens, let it happen. No.
एक और बात जो बहुत ज़रूरी है,
and another thing that's very important,
ये है हर दिन
every day
शुक्रिया करें,
to be grateful, thankful,
क्योंकि हमको बहुत कुछ मिला है,
because we have received so much.
बहुत कुछ मिला जिंदगी.
In life we have received a lot. Every day.
तो उसमें हम धन्य फील करें.
We should feel grateful.
क्या ना मिला है, क्या मिला है, और उनको
what
क्या
we
ना
have
मिला,
got and what
मिला.
others haven't got.
जितना हम ये धन्य की फीलिंग, शुक्रिया,
the more we will have this feeling of gratefulness and thankfulness,
हमारे अंदर
the more
framework ही change हो जाए.
Our inner framework will change. The way we see.
नजरिया change हो जाए. हर बात में हम अच्छाई को देखें.
In every situation we'll begin to see goodness.
तो इन सब बातों का भी जो भी बताएं, सब करने के लिए of course meditation.
And of course meditation is important for all of this.
चार्ज नहीं है,
if the battery is not charged, then you'll do whatever.
सारी दुनिया को चलाने की,
like we said, even the phone may have all the features, but it won't work if there's no battery.
हम अपने आप को समझें,
and so in the same way understand the self that is the soul, full of power or not, check, and the peace, the happiness, the love, the purity,
अपने अंदर जो है वो एकदम हम रोज अनुभव करना चाहिए.
We need to experience these every day, because this is what's going to help create your stage in one's life.
थोड़ा भी टाइम दे, हमारे थोड़ा सा भी टाइम,
give even a little time for the self,
और अपने अंदर वो अनुभव करना ही,
and
अपने अंदर
one needs to experience this within the self,
जो
and then the Supreme Soul, who's all powerful, who's the ocean.
तो उसके साथ जब हम जोड़ते हैं,
when we connect with that one,
certain things हमारे अंदर डील नहीं करता.
there are certain things we can't deal.
फिर हमारे अंदर वो क्षमता नहीं.
We don't have power to deal with. And at that time, if we are connected to the Supreme Soul, then through that relationship, through that connection, we can deal with the situation if we keep the aim.
तो ये बात भी बहुत ज़रूरी है.
So this is very important,
रोज
that every
अपने
day
अंदर भी ये अनुभव करें,
we
और
experience
परमात्मा के साथ भी ये connection रखें.
and we keep that connection with the Supreme Soul.
और हमारा परमात्मा के साथ सिर्फ कनेक्शन ही नहीं, लेकिन
And it's not only just a connection, we have a relationship with that one too. Sometimes we have it in a friend form, sometimes in a guru, sometimes in a teacher, sometimes in a friend,
लेकिन जब वो
whatever the relationship.
अंदर में अनुभव करते
But when we begin to experience this,
संबंध में भी हम
then
लेन देन अच्छा हो जाए.
then the interaction in the daily relations will become easier,
धोखा भी मिलता है, कभी
yes,
जो हम
one
चाहते
may
हैं
get
वो
deceived,
नहीं मिलता है,
maybe
तो
one
अंदर
doesn't
में
get
फिर
what
से
one needs, and
अंदर में
there may be feelings
हर्ट होते
of
रहते हैं।
hurt.
लेकिन परमात्मा के
But
साथ जब हम वो
when
संबंध
we
में अनुभव
forge a
करते हैं,
relationship with the
तो
Supreme
यहाँ
Soul,
के संबंध से
then the
हमको
relationships down here
फिर
on
हमारा
earth
अच्छा हो जाता है,
become very good,
क्योंकि हम अच्छी रीति से अच्छी बातें हम दे
because
सकते हैं,
we
ले
begin to
सकते
see good things.
हैं। तो ये कुछ बातें आपके सामने रखें,
And so keep a few of these aspects in front of you, and it will help you. Thank you. Om Shanti.
सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इस टॉक को बहुत सिंपल रीति और कहानी के रूप में समझाने के लिए।
Thank you very much for sharing
जैसे मैं
with
इस टॉक को
us.
सुन रहा था तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि
And as
मेरी
I
खुद
was
की भी
listening to the
experience
talk,
है। जैसा कि हमारा आज का टॉपिक था, तो बहुत सुंदर और इसको इतना रमणीक बनाने के लिए,
and you made
एग्जांपल्स
it
शेयर
very
करने के लिए,
humorous.
तो आज आपने हमारे साथ काफ़ी युक्तियाँ शेयर करी,
You've shared
हम अपने
methods
मन को स्थिर कर सकते हैं,
that
तो
we
जो
can
मुझे
make
इसमें
our
सबसे
mind
अच्छा लगा, चेक एंड चेंज।
very stable.
सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है अपनी कमियों को
First
पहचानना
is
और
to
उसमें वर्क
recognize
करना
your
और अपने अंदर
weaknesses
एक चेंज लेके आना।
to
फिर
bring a
जैसे आपने
change.
बताया कि वो
You
ग्रेटफुल
said
एक
that
आभार, वो
to be
फीलिंग्स
grateful,
जितना जनरेट होती है, जितना
how
उसका
much
संचालन होता है, उतना
we
एक पॉजिटिव
grateful,
एनर्जी का भी संचालन होता है। और फिर जैसे आपने बताया कि
and
अंदर
then
की
you said
सच्चाई और सफाई,
the
सबके लिए शुभकामना,
cleanliness.
सबके लिए शुभ भावना बहुत जरूरी है।
That it's very
और
important to
फिर
have good
जैसे आपने
wishes
बताया
for
कि
the self and
समाधान
others,
सोचना है। जैसे कई
and
बार हम
then
क्या होता है कि हर
also
जगह प्रॉब्लम को देखते हैं, कुछ भी
to
होता है
be
तो हम प्रॉब्लम
solution
पहले देखते हैं,
orientated.
लेकिन क्या वो हमें सिखाने के लिए आई है।
And
जब वो
how
एक
is
लर्निंग
that
एटीट्यूड होगा, तो
that
जैसे कि
if you
हम
have a learning
आगे बढ़ रहे हैं,
attitude,
तो
you can
बहुत
grow
सुंदर था।
forward.
आज
That
हमने
was
इससे
nice,
काफ़ी कुछ सीखा।
and we've
अगर
learnt
किसी
a
भी
lot.
भाई बहन को कोई भी क्वेश्चन है तो आप प्लीज़
If there's
चैट
any
बॉक्स में बता सकते हैं,
questions,
हम रेखा
then you
मैम
may
से
ask
पूछेंगे।
now.
और अभी हम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि आप
We're
हमें थोड़ा
requesting
सा मेडिटेशन कमेंट्री
that
का
you could do a
आप
little
आंसर
meditation commentary for us. Thank you.
पहले मेडिटेशन फिर क्वेश्चंस, ऐसा है?
अगर कोई क्वेश्चन आएगा
तो पहले मेडिटेशन है।
Okay, so first meditation.
जैसे कि अभी एक गाइडेड मेडिटेशन करेंगे,
So we're going to do a guided meditation.
अपने कुछ विचार इसे शेयर करेंगे, तो
I'll share a few
हम
thoughts
सभी
of mine.
साथ में मिल करके वो
We
अनुभव
will sit
करेंगे।
together and
जैसे
experience
बताया
it
कि
together,
खुद के अंदर की जो क्वालिटीज हैं और
and the
परमात्मा
qualities
से
of the
वो
self.
संबंध और वो उनकी क्वालिटीज को अनुभव करें।
We will experience
तो जहाँ
that
भी
one's
जैसे
qualities.
भी
And
बैठे
whoever,
हैं,
wherever
आराम
you
से
are
बैठे,
sitting, sit comfortably,
रिलैक्स होकर के बैठे,
relax,
लंबी श्वास लेकर के एकदम
taking a deep breath in
रिलैक्स हो जाए।
and relax.
शरीर एकदम रिलैक्स्ड है।
The body is extremely relaxed.
कोई भी टेंशन अगर है तो
If there's any
जैसे
tension,
कि हम उसको लेट गो करें।
it's like as if I'm letting go.
चेक कीजिए
Check
कहीं भी कोई
in
भी
your whole
टेंशन,
body. Is there any tension anywhere?
लेट गो,
Just let go of that tension
एकदम रिलैक्स।
and become relaxed.
इस रिलैक्स्ड स्थिति में
In this relaxed stage,
मेरा ध्यान भी
my attention
ब्रेथ के बीच में
is focused in the middle of my forehead,
ले जा रहे हैं। प्रकृति के बीच में एक चमकता हुआ सितारा
in the middle of my forehead is a shining
विजुअलाइज
star.
करें।
Visualize this.
मैं
I
एक ज्योति स्वरूप
am a form of light, powerful, a soul, and this body is my costume. I am a point of light, embodiment of light.
Shanti, प्रेम, सुख के खजाने.
And within me are the treasures of peace, happiness, and love, and experiencing the original qualities, I stay in that experience of it. I am an embodiment of peace, a soul, in the stage of peace. In front of the Supreme Soul, I see myself, the Supreme Soul, who is a point of light, who is the ocean of love, the ocean of knowledge, the Almighty, all-powerful, and through that one's light and rays, I, the soul, with power, fill the self. Within me, I experience a cleanliness. If there is any wound inside, it heals. I practice this every day. I feel power within me. In my life, every day, peace, love, happiness is experienced. And with this experience, I allow others to experience. Om Shanti.
थैंक यू, बहुत बहुत सुंदर। और अभी एक क्वेश्चन आया है चैट बॉक्स में, तो किसी ने लिखा है कि हाउ टू नॉट गेट डिस्टर्ब बाय वेरी अनएक्सपेक्टेड सडन aggression even if we stay calm that time but afterwards we feel very sad. How to be happy?
So there's a question from the chat box, how to be happy in a situation.
इसमें ये बात है,
yes,
कि
in
जैसे
this
पहले भी कहा,
we have said this,
कि अपने अंदर
within yourself
शांति की स्टॉक
you need to have a stock of peace and increase that.
जब हम रोज प्रैक्टिस
When we practice every day,
रोज प्रैक्टिस करते हैं तो अपने अंदर वो जैसे कि एक स्टॉक बढ़ना जाता है,
and then a stock begins to increase.
और वो जब वो स्टॉक होता है,
And when the stock is
हमारा
there,
कुछ भी reaction,
whatever reaction or situation that comes up,
उसको डील कर सकते,
we can deal with it.
नहीं करेंगे,
We won't react. We will respond.
हमारे अंदर स्टॉक नहीं है,
But if we don't have a stock,
फिर वो sudden sometimes
then
आ सकता है.
yes, we can
तो
react
रोज
suddenly.
regular practice.
And so every day a regular practice.
फिर दूसरी भी बात, चलो हो भी गया,
And okay, it happens.
गुस्सा आ भी गया,
Anger comes,
या फिर थोड़ा सा उस समय
and at time,
कोई हर्जा नहीं,
it's okay.
आप लिख लेना,
Write it down
रात को कि
at
ऐसा
night
हो गया, फिर
that
हम
something happened, this
ध्यान
happened,
देंगे इसमें.
and we'll pay attention.
नेक्स्ट टाइम के लिए
And so
ये
for
करेंगे.
next
ये
time,
बात अच्छा
we
है,
won't do this.
ये sometimes मैं करती हूँ
I do this
कि उस
sometimes.
सीन को फिर से मैं विजुअलाइज
I visualize that scene again.
वो ऐसे आया या
They
फिर कोई
came,
situation
the
हुआ,
situation
और
came
मैं
and this
कैसे
happened.
अच्छी तरह से
And
जैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करनी चाहिए,
How I'm
मैं
supposed to
सोचती हूँ,
respond,
ऐसे मैंने
the way
किया.
I think I
तो
do.
वो भी मैं विजुअलाइज करती
And I
हूँ,
visualize that
ताकि
too.
नेक्स्ट टाइम ऐसे
So that
similar
next
किसी
time,
और के साथ या कोई भी ऐसी सिचुएशन
whatever situation
already मैंने
come,
visualize कर लिया,
I've already
ऐसे
visualized
अच्छे से
how I'm going to
करूँगी,
respond, and I will
फिर
do
वो
that.
कर सकते हैं.
I
तो ये
can,
दो
you can do
बातें
that.
हैं.
These are two things. First, stock
every day,
every
हर
day.
दिन अपना स्टॉक बढ़ाना, ताकि
Increase
हम
your
use
stock.
कर सके जब भी चाहे.
Use it
फिर
when
दूसरी
you
बात
want.
अगर हो भी
Secondly,
जाए, तो
if it
उसको
happens,
सीख के जैसे कि
learn
उसको अंदर में
and
change
change.
करो.
थैंक यू रेखा बहन, एक बार फिर से शुक्रिया, और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि आपको इसका आंसर मिल
So
गया.
thank you,
और आज आपने
Rekha
इस टॉक से
बहन,
काफी कुछ सीखा, और कहीं
and
ना
we've
कहीं
learnt a
इसको
lot,
अपनी लाइफ का एक हिस्सा भी बनाएंगे.
and we'll
तो
make it
अभी
part
हम
of our
announcement
life.
की ओर चलते हैं.